My fellow patriots, it's very good to see you back here again. Now, when we last left off, I had informed you that I had recently taken command of sloop Providence, a lightly armed 12-gun sloop of war with a crew of about 70 men. Now, I had just been about to encounter the ship called Sola Bay of His Majesty's Navy, and it is there that we leave off. So, near the Bermuda Islands, I encountered the frigate Sola Bay of 32 guns with a convoy. She was part of Admiral Parker's squadron, which had been defeated and driven from Charleston. She was bound for New York. I wanted to avoid an engagement with such a superior force, but my officers and crew stubbornly insisted that it was the fleet from Jamaica, and as it was necessary at this point in the war to command by persuasion, the result was a serious engagement lasting 6 hours, which at the end was carried out at pistol range. An audacious maneuver being my only recourse, I tried it with success and disengaged myself. Soon thereafter, I took some important prizes and afterwards sailed toward the coast of Acadia to destroy the whale and cod fisheries there. Near Sable Island, I encountered the Milford, an enemy frigate of 32 guns, with which it was impossible to avoid the engagement. We cannonaded each other from 10 o'clock in the morning until sunset, but the battle was neither as close nor as hot as that with the Sola Bay. At length, I disengaged by passing the flats of the island, and the next day, I entered the port of Canso, where I did indeed destroy fisheries and shipping. The morning of the following day, I set sail for Isle de Madame, where I made 2 raids, destroying the fisheries and burning all of the vessels that I could not carry away. This expedition took place during stormy weather and on a dangerous coast, heavily populated with residents and in a ready state of defense. But I had the good fortune to succeed despite all of these obstacles. From there I sailed to Rhode Island, where I arrived 6 weeks and 5 days after my departure from Delaware. During that time I had taken 16 prizes, not counting the vessels that were destroyed. The commander-in-chief, who had not put to sea since the expedition of the Providence, then adopted a plan which I had proposed to him. This was first to destroy the enemy's coal vessels and fisheries at Ile Royale. Second, to release more than 300 American citizens who were imprisoned in the coal mines. 3 vessels were designated for this service: the Alfred, the Hampton, and the Providence. But the Hampton, damaged when grounding on a rock, could not accompany me. On November 2nd, 1776, I continued on my route with the Alfred, which I commanded, accompanied only by the Providence. Off the coast of Acadia, I captured a vessel from Liverpool, and immediately after, on the latitude of Louisbourg. I took the Mellish, a large armed vessel, having on board 2 English naval officers and an army captain with a company of soldiers. The Mellish was carrying 2,000 complete sets of uniforms to Canada for the army posted there under the command of Generals Carleton and Burgoyne. The Providence then became separated from the Alfred during the night for no reason whatsoever. I was left alone, and during the bad season, on the enemy coast. But despite being embarrassed by my prizes and prisoners, I did not want to abandon my project. I made 1 raid on the coast of Acadia and burned a transport vessel of great value that the enemy had run aground on the beach. I also burned the warehouses and some whaling and cod fishing vessels. There was a great quantity of oil consumed too, with the warehouses. I then captured near Ile Royale 3 transports from a fourth transport loaded with codfish and furs. I learned from one of these ships that the harbours of Ile Royale were closed by ice, which made the expedition I was planning impractical. These prizes had been escorted by the frigate Flora, then close by but hidden from view by fog. The next day I captured a privateer from Liverpool carrying 16 cannon. I then made sail to bring my prizes to some United States port. At the latitude of Boston, I again encountered the frigate Milford. The Alfred, which by then carried a greatly reduced crew and many prisoners, was very inferior in strength. I would have preferred to avoid the engagement. That did not promise any advantage. But my prizes, chiefly the Mellish, obliged me to take that risk, no matter what the chances of success. At nightfall, therefore, I placed myself between my prizes and the enemy, and, having given the necessary instructions to the prizes as to how to avoid all danger and to arrive at some safe port, I changed my course during the night, set out a ship's lantern, and in this way drew the enemy into pursuing me. This stratagem saved my prizes. The next day I was fortunate to escape after a serious action with the Milford that was not interrupted or terminated until evening, and then by a hard gale. I arrived at Boston on December 16, 1776, having only enough water and provisions for 2 days. My prizes arrived safely, except for one of the smaller ones that the enemy recaptured. The news of the uniforms captured aboard the Mellish renewed the courage of General Washington's army, which at that time was nearly destitute of clothing. This unexpected relief contributed not insignificantly to the success of the army at the Battle of Trenton against the Hessians that occurred immediately after my arrival in Boston. Now, I do think that is a very good place to end for today. Now, I must confess, I was a bit nervous when I first took command of Providence. I was a bit intimidated by her fore and aft rig mainsail. But it turns out I had really nothing to worry about. The excellent seamanship of the crew and the well-training that they've been given were quite enough to carry us on. Anyway, I do thank you very much once again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, have a very good day.